are listening to Pivot Parenting, episode 192, Finding Rest in the Storms of Parenting. Welcome to Pivot Parenting, the place where we recognize when your parental role needs to shift and how to do it. I'm your host and parenting expert, Heather Frazier. Hello, welcome to today's episode of Pivot Parenting. My friend, we are talking about finding rest in the storms of parenting, and this is for real. Are you in the thick of anything right now? I feel like everybody, A, has a terrible cough, which I totally do, and like they're sick and getting over it, and B, things are real. Things are real hard, and they're in the trenches of parenting and struggle and growth and things that can be beautiful, but nobody ever actually asks for or is delighted when it comes a calling. And so I think that this is a really appropriate topic for all the people that I'm in touch with, and hopefully it's helpful for you. Speaking of which, my friend, I am publishing a book in the beginning of 2024, and I am so excited. Pre-orders are going to be going on for the next several weeks until it launches in January. And I want you to get a pre-order because guess what? If you pre-order from my website, then you're going to get me reading it for free. You'll get the audio. I will send you the audio as soon as it's ready. So you could even potentially listen to it before you get the book. But I will say, I've been working on a super fun surprise for you. And it is artwork to go in the book. That's right. Every chapter has a little piece of art from me and by me. And it kind of is like a visual that drives home the point that I'm trying to make. They're really attractive stick figures. I try to personalize them. They're really fun. And they teach the lesson. So it's my handwriting, my art. I like a personal connection. That is what I value most in life. And I want to make a personal connection with you. So I paper crafted the cover, right? Like I actually got out papers and scissor and hole punch, and I paper crafted the outside cover of my book and sent that paper crafting to my designer so that she could, put all the picture and text and make it look pretty so that it doesn't look like I did the whole thing. You definitely don't want that. It's pretty, but I crafted it for you. And I also did drawings to go with every single chapter. And while I definitely consider myself artistic, figure drawing is not in my forte, but it is personal and with so much love. So I'm really excited. You definitely want a hard copy of the book. You don't just want the audio because the audio doesn't show the pictures or the cover, and that's so much fun. All right, so you can pre-order hopefully in the next week on my website, heatherfrazier.com. There's going to be a little button to pre-order. My web designer is working on that right now, and I'm really excited. It's looking so good. And I am going to announce when it's ready to pre-order to my email list first. Of course, I'll pop it here on the podcast when the next one publishes and on social media. But my email friends always get the best stuff first. And so if you want to know to get your pre-order, because also that audio version I'm going to send to you as soon as it's ready, which will be before the hard copy. So you can listen to it before you get the hard copy. You're going to want to head to heatherfrazier.com in the next week or two, or before then to get on my email list so then you don't have to keep checking and I'll just let you know. That's probably the easiest way. All right. Today's episode is just going to be a little shorter. Like I said, I haven't been feeling super good and I'm getting ready to publish my book. But honestly, there's not a lot to say on this subject that I can't say in just a few minutes to give you a lot of leverage if you are in the trenches, in the storm, in the eye of the storm of parenting. If things are just crazy right now, maybe you're trying to work out meds or therapies or just get your kid to talk to you and come out of their room, wherever you're at, I have a couple little points. Number one, we really need to consider our expectations. And what I mean by that is parents will say, I need them to take their meds. I need them to go to school. I need them to follow the rules that they made, sometimes even, right? Like especially with screens or with things our kids really, really like. They'll say, they'll agree to some rules and then they'll break those rules. So we want to look at our expectations and if we're fighting reality, meaning you look at the last 6 months, a year, forever with your kid, and are we thinking that they should be different than how they show up a majority of the time? Or our spouse or ourself. That's fighting reality. When we think, why can't they? Why don't they? Why won't they? If we think things should be different, if we think things should resolve a certain way, like they should apologize to me, right? And they're not, or they say it and I can tell that they don't mean it. They're just saying it so that I'll be happy, but I'm not happy because it's not even genuine. Does that ever happen to you guys? You're like, well, my spouse should apologize to me better, or my teen should appreciate me more. And if they appreciated me, then I wouldn't feel so terrible. You guys ever feel that? So that is one way that we are creating a bigger than necessary storm for ourselves. So by checking our expectations, then we can kind of calm the winds or put on like a windbreaker, because it's like, okay, 9 times out of 10, this is how it goes. And when we alter our expectations or stop resisting reality, it does not mean that you have to be happy about it or that you'll like stop wanting it to change. It just means accepting that that's usually how everybody shows up or how things have turned out. It's kind of dropping the coulda, woulda, shoulda, so that then you don't waste any energy on spinning out on how they should have done things differently. You can just say, this is just how it is, and what's next? So you can still create change, but we're not wasting any of our valuable energy and brain space in something that yields nothing, which is that spin of coulda, woulda, shoulda, fighting reality. Okay? Number 2, you want to evaluate what you think would be relief. So if the storm were to stop howling, how would that be? And I want you to be really honest with yourself, because if it's them changing or them feeling better or them behaving differently, you're focusing on the wrong thing, because it's all about things that you can't control, like your teen or your spouse or the medication or the physicians or the school or their friend or their boyfriend. And so we want to be very clear on relief being within our power. Yes, of course, we want things to go our way, right? We hope that the medicine will work. We hope that they'll get into that college that they've been having panic attacks about. Whatever it is, of course, we want the thing. But also, is that where we're putting all of our energy and we're waiting for something that we can't really control? And how can we actually find relief in turning inward to ourselves, of making peace with where we're at, of accepting that sometimes things are hard? And I want you guys to know that nothing lasts forever. It might last a long time. It might last a moment and feel like it lasts forever. But nothing actually lasts forever. Emotions, they are just neurotransmitters in our bodies, and we cannot stay in an emotion forever, even the really good ones. Like when you held your baby for the first time and you were so in love, or when you fell in love, or when you got the job, or when they put their little patties around your neck and pulled you in and you knew that you were their center of the universe. And that just feels so good. Like a little toddler or baby's love is intoxicating. It feels so good because you know that you are the most important person in their life. That doesn't last forever, right? They get friends. They get mad at you. Things change. So you really want to look at what you're looking for in relief and make sure that while you might be trying to move towards change, helping them through therapy or any of the things that they're struggling with, and also you're finding relief within things that you can control, like going to bed early, like having professional help of your own, of eating healthy foods, of getting your walk in, of having your girlfriend lunch, whatever it is that you do to find moments of respite for yourself, meditation, yoga, right? However you can find the relief from what you can, even if that is just a good cry and processing and working through emotion, that can also be relief. Okay, number 3 that I want you to consider is this really sneaky yet pervasive subconscious thing that I think all humans do. And especially in parenting, we do this. We think that we always need to get it right for change to be effective or to help your kid. Like I have to always be in control of myself. I have to find the right doctor the first time. I have to say the right thing to the teacher so that things will work out. I have to parent my child with the right rules and consequences so that they'll obey them. My friend, rules and consequences do not exist so that your kids will follow them. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. That is not why we have rules and consequences. Rules and consequences exist so that you know you are doing your very best. And for sure, your kids are going to break some to all of them, depending on your kid's personality. And if you think they're following them, they might be sneaky breaking them too. I also talk about that in my book. How sometimes it was years later, and then my daughter would disclose, oh yeah, I was doing this or I was doing that. I had no idea. I had no idea when she was in junior high or high school, all the rules she was breaking. So this deep-seated belief that we have to do it right for us to be a good parent, for our kid to be positively affected by us, to help them, that just isn't true. Or if you want that to be true, guess what? You get to decide what right looks like. So you can just decide everything that you're attempting to do from a good place is right. You can spin it either way. There's an analogy that I really like that kind of goes with all 3 of these. So checking your expectations, what you think would be a relief, and this need to always get it right, that we need to drop that. I want you to think about an ocean. Okay. Now, sometimes you go to the beach and it's just like these tiny little waves that a toddler can play in. There's hardly anything. And the sand just goes out for miles and it just is lovely, right? You're not constantly watching your kid because it would be pretty hard pressed for them to drown. Some oceans, however, you would not even approach the water because the waves are crashing up on the rocks and it's fearsome and wild, and people would die if they approached the crashing waves. Our emotional state is like the waves of an ocean. Sometimes it is calm and sometimes it is crashing. But have you ever Googled when people try to build structures that go out into the ocean, whether they're like bridges or land masses that they're putting out into the ocean? Some engineers do this and they try to fight or resist the ocean. They try to be so rigid and set and strong that the ocean cannot harm their structure. And then there are structures that they have built to go with the flow of the ocean. They work with the movement of the waves. They're not rigid, but they are flexible. And that is how we want to be, because oftentimes when people think that they can outdo Mother Nature, they lose. So there are lots of really great Google images of people thinking that they can build something stronger and more durable to withstand the ocean. And that actually just isn't really a thing. The ocean's always going to eventually win. And so we want to create beliefs and parenting strategies. Our emotional world is the ocean, and we need to build around it so that we can allow for the movements of our feelings. If we think that we're too rigid to show emotion, that we can't yield, our emotions will eventually break that down. We really want to work with our humanity, which is emotions, and not try to resist them or be stronger than them, because ultimately Mother Nature wins. And so we want to be fluid and not rigid and let our emotions move around us while we are still intact. I really like when I'm talking to my clients and they are in the thick of it. Sometimes I'll even have them imagine laying on the beach and the waves are coming up on them. And every time we hope like that another wave's not going to hit or that they'll get smaller. But the waves can't harm us. They're uncomfortable. They might even be unbearable. But when we can just lay and allow the waves to lap against us, knowing that we're not going to drown, that no storm lasts forever, and that the waves are just coming, and that we can just remain calm and in that peace of mind, knowing that our emotions cannot actually destroy us. Oftentimes it is the resistance of our emotions that make them so unbearable. Then that can also be a really helpful metaphor. It's kind of like when our kids are suffering, especially when it's something mental or emotional, a lot of parents blame themselves. They feel like something terrible has gone wrong. There's a lot of unnecessary emotion. Then if we just say, well, did you feel this way when your baby had colic? Or would you feel this way if they had leukemia or something medically diagnosable instead of mentally diagnosable? And they say, well, no, it would be a lot different. But that is just us. It's a hidden way that our brain conceals that we are resisting and that we are trying to fight the waves of emotion, that we think something has gone wrong. Essentially, we're doing one of those three things. Our expectations are different. We think that relief needs to be them feeling better, and that we did something wrong and we have to get it exactly right. But really, all struggle, we can choose to look at the same if that's helpful for us. Now, when we are in struggle, there are two places that we want to be in to navigate our difficult time. Okay, only 2 places. So it's really simple. The first one is doing the work. We're in the trenches, we're helping, we're showing up, we're processing, we are finding therapists, coaches, talking with counselors, whatever it is that we need to do the work, to move through the process of helping ourselves and helping our child. And the second one is one that parents don't feel like they deserve or can do, but it's actually just as important as the first, and that is resting. You need to find rest within the storm because you can't do good work if you don't have energy mentally or physically to do so. And so you need to take time to connect with God or the earth or whatever it is to find your rest physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. You need to allow yourself to rest. So if that looks like just having a movie night, then have a movie night. You don't have to be running until you fall dead in your feet in bed every night. You need rest. Did you hear that? You need rest. It is just as valuable as you doing the work, I promise. And so when you navigate between these 2 places, you need to listen to and learn to tune into your intuition of when rest is the best option and of when work is the best option. And I just want to say that rest is not avoiding. So it's not watching Netflix until 3 a.m. because you don't want to face the silence of laying in your bed. That's avoiding. Watching a movie can be rest. It can also be avoiding, depending on if you are allowing yourself to rest. And and again, only we can answer this for ourselves. Are we avoiding or are we resting? There is a difference, and it's okay if you've been avoiding. We all do this. But when we notice ourselves avoiding, then just being like, oh, I've been on my phone scrolling for an hour because I'm avoiding thinking about this thing or dealing with this thing. Do I need rest right now, or do I need to do something that's putting in the work? And then do that thing. The place that you really don't want to be is in dirty pain. What dirty pain sounds like or can sound like is blaming other people for the problem or what's going on. It can sound like shaming yourself. I should have known. I'm so stupid. I'm the worst mom. Blaming your spouse. Anything that feels icky, that shrinks that good, safe feeling inside, that could potentially be dirty pain. The biggest tell for dirty pain is if it creates goodness or more negativity and bad things. If it's creating more negativity, chances are really good that it's dirty pain. And of course, I'm always here. You can DM me on social media, or if you're on my email list, all you have to do is hit reply to one of my emails. That is direct access to me, my friend, and we can talk about it. Okay, because I am seriously so excited for my book, How I Fixed My Teen, I want to read yet another little excerpt from it, because this is how I have felt so many times over my 2+ decades of being a mom. And I think you'll be able to relate. So this little excerpt is just a few lines. It is from my most vulnerable chapter towards the end of the book. And I share things in there that even my closest friends and family do not know, and they will probably be shocked when they read it. But here's kind of how I open the chapter. I say, moms are the pack animals of, and then I have some bulleted points of all time, of everyone's emotional and literal garbage, secrets too wounding to expose, her children's pain and woe, remembering everything to do, remembering where everything is and finding everything that's lost. But seriously, my mom was so good at this. And let's not forget that she also carries around shame of what's going on that nobody sees based on society and family's expectation of her to know how to fix everything and everyone. I kind of have a lot of run-on sentences in my book. But I go on and I say, and can you also bring me a bowl of ice cream? Thanks. And no, Mom, I don't want to help you. Has that ever happened to you? End quote. That's the end of my book, or the end of that quote from my book. Have you ever felt like you have had to bear the burden of everything? My friend, you can find rest in the storms of parenting. Follow these guidelines. And of course, if you're interested in how I also outline this in my book, you can pre-order it. But we don't, because we can't, do it all at once, especially when there's a storm. I don't know about you, but for years I prided myself on how much I could accomplish. I thought I was so valuable and rad because I could get so much done and do so much. Like it was a badge of honor. But sometimes things fall apart and we can't. And if you're in a storm, that's probably where you're at. You're trying and rushing around, or maybe you have given up. We have to allow others to take their turn, to figure their stuff out, to rest, and also to learn for ourselves. I promise there is no rush. Hard times can feel like we want to sprint until we are out of them, and sometimes that works and sometimes it does not. So we have to make peace with our inability to fix. When we can put into place these 3 steps, again, they are 1, to check your expectations, 2, to make sure that you like how you're finding relief, and 3, letting go of always getting it right in order to think that you can help or be effective. And then we stay as often as possible in one of the 2 places, which is doing the work and resting. Then we can heal and we can accomplish so much more, and we can maintain energy to focus on what really helps in these situations. So we want to reframe where we can. And this doesn't mean to gaslight ourselves. And if you're like my husband, we were talking the other day and he's like, I don't understand all of these buzzwords like gaslighting or toxic masculinity. He's like, I don't even get them. So if gaslighting is a new word for you, I Googled it. The definition is an insidious form of manipulation and psychological control. Victims of gaslighting are deliberately and systemically fed false information that leads them to question what they know to be true, often about themselves. So gaslighting is mental abuse, and it's really common in relationships and really common with ourselves. Like telling ourselves, if I was a better mom, my kid would be doing better. That is false information. If we are thinking, I should just tell myself that I like this, or that this isn't that big of a deal to me, but it is a big deal to you, that's gaslighting yourself. There are about a bajillion ways that we can gaslight ourselves. And reframing or choosing to look at ourselves or the situation or a child in a different way is not, we do not want to gaslight ourselves. We want to be honest with ourselves and look at all the options. Does that make sense? Sometimes this can be a little bit tricky. As always, if you want to talk, I'm readily available. Did you know that you can book a free consult with me on my website? It's just like the little button in the middle that says apply here. You can just click it and we can talk about these things. Or again, you can email me or DM me. But then when we are working through these things, the one thing that I love to suggest to clients is that while they're learning or after they've learned something, that they can teach these strategies to their family. Because guess what? Your kids have emotions and a brain just like you and I. And so they need these tools too. So to be able to have family councils, family meetings, where you're teaching your kids what you're learning so that they can navigate storms and their emotions, so that they know that they're not crazy for thinking weird things like we all do. Those are beautiful, beautiful gifts that we can give our kids. Okay, this is what I have for you. Come follow me on Instagram, join my email list so that you are the first to pre-order my book. Seriously, you're going to want the audio version. So I will see you next week. And in the meantime, go check that out.